Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be kicking off a series on one of my favorite engineering books of all time, called The Effective Engineer by Edmond Lau. I was introduced to it several years ago by one of my mentors, and I've had the opportunity to give copies of it to teammates dozens of times since. I've also gone through it with my mentees every chance I've had, and I'm looking forward to going through it with you. What I appreciate about this book and the others that I've done summaries for is the timelessness of the content. I think it will remain relevant very far into the future, which is why it's worth doing a summary for. But with that being said, let's get into part 1, which is called Adopt the Right Mindsets, and chapter 1, which is called Focus on High Leverage Activities. The first section is called Use Leverage as Your Yardstick for Effectiveness. This section explores the concept of leverage as a tool for effective time management in engineering. The author argues that the key to maximizing productivity and achieving goals is to focus on high leverage activities that produce a disproportionately high impact for a relatively small time investment. In other words, engineers should prioritize tasks that deliver the most value per unit of time invested. The author points out that time is the most limited resource for engineers and that it cannot be stored, extended, or replaced. Therefore, it is essential to use it wisely by focusing on activities that offer the greatest return on investment. The Pareto principle, or 80-20 rule, is mentioned as a way of thinking about leverage. The idea is that 80% of the impact comes from 20% of the work, which means that engineers should concentrate on the high leverage 20% of tasks that produce the most value. The article provides examples of high leverage activities for engineers, such as mentoring and training new engineers. Although this may require a significant time investment up front, the author argues that it pays off in the long run by increasing the productivity and effectiveness of the team. Mentoring and training can help new engineers learn essential skills, reduce development time, and prevent bad habits from forming. Creating reusable resources like code labs can also offer high dividends with little upkeep required after an initial investment. The author stresses that effective engineers are not those who try to get more things done by working more hours. Instead, they are the ones who focus their limited time on the tasks that produce the most value. They try to increase the numerator in the leverage equation, value produced, while keeping the denominator small, time invested. The article concludes by emphasizing the importance of prioritizing high leverage activities to maximize productivity and achieve goals in engineering. The next section is called Increase Your Leverage in 3 Ways. It discusses the concept of leverage in the context of productivity and output for engineers. The author references Andrew Grove's book, High Output Management, to explain that there are 3 ways to increase overall leverage: reducing the time it takes to complete an activity, increasing the output of a particular activity, and shifting to higher leverage activities. The author then breaks down these 3 ways into 3 questions that we can ask ourselves about any activity. How can I complete this activity in a shorter amount of time? How can I increase the value produced by this activity? And is there something else that I could spend my time on that would produce more value? The author goes on to explain that an engineer's output is measured in various ways, including the number of products launched, bugs fixed, users acquired, and engineers hired, along with ranking quality improved, revenue generated, and many other metrics. However, just going through the motions of daily activities does not necessarily mean that an engineer is producing value the entire time. Each daily activity has its own leverage, measured by the activity's output divided by the time it takes to complete that activity. The author provides an image that shows the leverage of different activities during a typical workday. Some activities have high leverage, such as implementing a feature request, learning a new testing framework, or fixing an important bug. Others, like surfing the web or responding to email, might take up just as much time but have lower leverage because they don't generate as much value. To increase the leverage of each activity, the author suggests asking the 3 questions mentioned earlier. The author provides several examples of how engineers can increase the leverage of their time spent on different activities. For example, a 1-hour meeting with the team to review their progress on a project can be made more productive by defaulting to a half-hour meeting, preparing an agenda and set of goals beforehand, or replacing the meeting with an email discussion if an in-person discussion isn't necessary. Similarly, a product engineer can increase the leverage of their development time by automating parts of the development or testing process, prioritizing tasks based on how critical they are for launch, or talking with the customer support team to gain insights into customers' biggest pain points. The next section is called Direct Energy Towards Leverage Points, Not Just Easy Wins. It talks about the concept of leverage and how it can be applied to achieve high-impact results in both personal and professional contexts. The author advises readers to focus on high-leverage activities, which are activities that require consistent effort over a long period of time to achieve a significant impact. While high-leverage activities may not be easy wins, they are essential for achieving success. The author cites Yishan Wang's experience at Facebook as an example of someplace where he saw high leverage activities. When Wang became a manager at Facebook, he faced the challenge of changing the company's attitude towards hiring. Engineers viewed recruiting and interviews as distractions from their work, but Wang knew that hiring was essential to maintaining the company's high standards. To change the mindset, Wang gradually applied pressure and built a culture where even rejected candidates left interviews wanting to work at Facebook. Over time, an obsession with speed and quality in hiring became one of Facebook's competitive advantages. The author argues that building a strong hiring culture is a high-leverage activity that requires consistent effort over many years. Once strong people joined the company, it became easier to attract more strong people. The author emphasizes that while our own work may not be on as grand a scale as Facebook's, the concept of leverage is just as powerful for us. By focusing on high-leverage activities, we can transform the time and effort we spend into meaningful impact. The author also cites Bill Gates as an example of using leverage to achieve high-impact results. Gates, after retiring as CEO of Microsoft, focused on philanthropy and used his billions of dollars to fund projects with high leverage points, such as funding measles and malaria vaccines that cost less than 25 cents each but save millions of lives. The last section is called Key Takeaways and is succinct enough that they're worth presenting as is and without interpretation. They are admonishments to 1. Use leverage to measure your engineering effectiveness. 2. Systematically increase the leverage of your time. And 3. Focus your effort on leverage points. So that's all for this one. My name is Daniel, and I make programming-related videos, sometimes coding tutorials, and others more abstract like book chapter summaries. I do it not only because I love teaching you, but because I love learning for myself as well. So if you found this video and this series helpful or thought-provoking, I'd appreciate a like, subscribe, and comment. I love hearing from you, and we'll see you all in the next one.